I think I know why you don't like Mother Teresa, but I think you really should be man enough to tell the audience some of your more despicable comments. So since you weren't, I'll do it for you. These are Christopher Hitchins' words. Mother Teresa, in regard to her opposition to abortion, he said, quote, "It sounds grotesque when uttered by an elderly virgin." She has also been regarded as a presumable virgin, and you've also referred to as an elderly virgins terrified of sex should not tell the rest of us how to live our sex lives. So that's really the kind of individual you are, Christopher, so don't give me the stuff about Duvalier. Now, why is she such a threat to you? All right. You see, both Christopher Hitchins and Mother Teresa had one thing in common. They both professed to have something in common with regard to the poor. They both said they were concerned about the poor. Unlike Mr. Hitchins, Mother Teresa actually did something about the poor. So she... Well, what's bothering him is that here's a woman engaged in private philanthropy, grounded in her Catholic tradition, and you, sir, you want state socialism. That is why she terrifies you, and she continues to terrify you. You want coercion, and Mother Teresa, of course, chose altruism. You know, if you're going to write a book, too, you really have to do it in a scholarly fashion. For example, this is a scholarly work. This is a book which I wrote, okay? This is a piece of trash. This is a book which you wrote. Now, why would I say that? This is the Mother Teresa book. Not because of the content. He has the freedom of speech. When you write a book, if you're going to be taken seriously, it's always helpful to have an index, okay? You don't have any index. Yours is 8.5 by 5.5, 98 pages. But more importantly, there's something called footnotes, which go at the foot of the page, or endnotes, which go at the end of the chapter. If you take a look at my book, you have 1,060 attributions. It's called evidence, Christopher, and we open up your book and we don't find any. Now that, you see, if you were one of my undergraduate students, that would have to merit an F. I'm sorry. It doesn't carry any weight. You know, the reason why you really don't like Mother Teresa, you say she takes from the rich in your book, and she gives from the poor. Well, who the hell did you expect her to take it from? The poor? I mean, what kind of a mentality is this, you know? She visits dictatorships, so does the Red Cross. And what do you have against dictatorships anyhow, sir? You have been in love with the Marxists all over Latin America. To give you an idea of where he's coming from, he was so angry at Mother Teresa because she wouldn't install an elevator in one of her buildings to rescue the homeless in the Bronx. He didn't mention that she agreed to take them up the stairs. The nuns would carry the homeless up the stairs. No, because the mind of the bureaucrat, the person who must have the state, is the mind of the person who would be against anybody who's doing anything like this. It's called voluntarism. But most amazing, in your book, you say that Calcutta needs population control. But on the page before, you actually say that secular leftist politics predominates. Didn't you quite figure out the cause and effect? In social science, it's called an independent variable and a dependent variable. Didn't you quite figure out that the reason they have so much poverty over there is precisely because of your secular leftist politics, which predominates? Where in God's name has socialism ever delivered anything but what Orwell said? Leader worship, oppression, and war. That's the legacy of what you stand for. I mean, after all, it is the philosophy of The Nation magazine, is yours is a Marxism. It is the most failed philosophy in all of history. You've been on the wrong side of history. Marxism is what is... You talk about apologies. You don't want to apologize for anything. There are more people dead in the 20th century as a result of what government has done than what any religion has done. 120 million people lost their lives. It's called communism. Now, if you don't make this... Christopher, you want to make the argument that somehow there's a distinction here, that you as a Marxist, as an intellectual, are somehow distant from the behavioral consequences of your philosophy. Well, it won't work. Remember what Solzhenitsyn said about Stalinism and Marxism? He said, Stalin didn't pervert Marxism, it perfected it. And that's exactly what happens. You cannot have a socialist regime without the kind of poverty which then people must, like Mother Teresa, have to rescue the people from. What you are doing is sponsoring an ideology which ultimately leads to the kind of oppression that you supposedly abhor. Now, you say that that you're an atheist as such. Well, I hope that you will leave this hall tonight and explain to us then why you believe in the ape story. I mean, it's very important for me to know, for example, as I understand it, the way you believe it is that once upon a time there were apes up in a tree. And then the apes fell off the tree. They fell on all fours. And after millions of years, they stood up. And they lost most of their hair. And then, voila, there we were. Now, you know, if you want to believe that you are, if you want to believe that you are a descendant of the apes, you won't get any argument from me, Mr. Hitchins. You know,
I think it's because I am one of the higher primates.
My 200 million great-grandfather was a fish.
I think we are primates. High primates, but primates. We're half a chromosome away from chimpanzees, and it shows.
Humiliation.